a big trend I've been noticing right now is with the synthetic cannabinoids. I
Mm,
kind of mentioned that for a second earlier, but with the synthetic cannabinoids, we have, you guys may have heard of like THCO or Delta 10.
yeah.
So we have quite a few people sometimes that come in and ask for those, but aren't really, they don't really know that those don't naturally come out of the plant. They're
NuWave fam, what's going on? It's Dr. Cameron Brown.
And I'm Dr. Eusebio DeRosier. For all those that are new to the channel and just tuning in to NuWave TV, we just want to say hello and thank you for watching today. We understand many things affect different aspects of health, whether that may be physical, mental, or spiritual. So NuWave TV is all about just providing quality information and insight that is beneficial to your life and your health.
Yes, sir. And today's guest will be providing insight on the CBD industry and its potential benefits. She is the owner of Your CBD store in Clermont. She's also a good friend of ours. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome Abby Pauline. What's going on, Abby?
Hey, what's up, Abby?
Hi everyone. How are you guys?
How you doing? Just wanted to thank you for spending some time with us today. Um, Excited to kind of dive into the world of CBD. And I think that's kind of a good way to start because there's a lot of information out there. And for those that don't know or don't have a good understanding, can you kind of just briefly talk about what is CBD in the first place?
Yeah, so basically CBD, it's a naturally occurring cannabinoid that comes out of the hemp plant. But our bodies also naturally produce cannabinoids. Most of us just don't produce enough, unfortunately. So when you take it over time, it helps your body to become into that homeostasis. And our endocannabinoid system has the largest amount of receptors versus any other system in the body. So it does deal with all the cycles that happen in the body, like energy production, emotional regulation, again, that homeostasis and mental clarity and things like that.
Wow, that's interesting.
Okay. Cool, cool. So you seem like you're pretty knowledgeable on the CBD. So let's back up a little bit. So what got you into the CBD industry?
Yeah, so it's not a super exciting story, but I grew up here in Central Florida, and then I had moved over into the Sarasota area, specifically in Northport. And I started working part-time at the Your CBD store there in Northport. And over time, I just kind of grew from, I started there and then I became the manager there. And then I started managing a few other stores like in the Fort Myers area. But immediately, even when I was part-time, I just loved the job immediately. I loved working with customers. I've always had a passion for helping people. And this kind of allowed me to do that in a way that I never thought I would be doing when I first heard about it. I was like, CBD, I didn't know what it was or anything like that. And they just taught me so much and I loved it. And again, just the customer testimonials is really what is the rewarding part about it and kind of just makes me keep doing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. And it's crazy because when we spoke before, it was there's so much information out there and how it can affect the body and be helpful. I feel like there's a lot of people that are not aware of that. So,
Yeah.
even when it comes to the difference between CBD and THC, right?
Yes.
Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so that is a common misconception for people that, come into the store. Along with THC, CBD is also the main cannabinoid that is naturally found out of the plant. In case you guys are wondering, CBD stands for cannabidiol and THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol. I know people always ask me that in the store sometimes too, so it's a mouthful. But I would say that the main difference is CBD is not going to produce those intoxicating effects. It would be wrong to say that it doesn't cause any psychoactive effects, because in a way, it is giving you that mental clarity or that relaxation. So we don't like to say no psychoactive effects, but it's not going to produce those intoxicating effects that THC could do. So a lot of our customers coming in are typically looking for those therapeutic benefits. We kind of say like the heal without the health without the high.
Nice. Awesome.
Gotcha. So you just touched on what I was getting ready to ask you, your benefits. So if you can kind of talk about some of the benefits of CBD so that people can kind of have an understanding of have an understanding of why they may want to come in to utilize CBD products.
Yeah, I would say CBD, of course, since it's working with the endocannabinoid system, which again is responsible for all those cycles in the body. A lot of people coming in are typically, it could be improving their sleep cycle or seeking help with the tension in their muscles or things like that. But generally, overall, it has to do with just improving their quality of life in general.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like chiropractic, right?
There you go.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Right. So I know there's the different forms of CBD products, right?
Yeah.
And this is a question that I was asked before. Is it possible to overdose on CBD? Like, say, if you take the different forms, like the topical forms, but also oral as well, is there like a too much threshold?
Yeah, so the great thing about CBD is whatever your body doesn't use, it will naturally excrete. So you don't have to worry about overdosing or taking too much of it. Most of our customers actually, the best way to take CBD is getting it in you and on you. So you're kind of combating it by that localized approach as well as that internal approach. So most of our customers are typically doing some type of daily regimen along with the topical product. And then sometimes they'll even, maybe they want a gummy for nighttime or a gummy for daytime or something like that. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Of course, we always recommend, you could start low and slow just because you don't want to take too much if you don't have to.
Yeah. Is there a form that you would say is more effective to use?
So there's a variety of different forms that our customers use. It really boils down to one, personal preference. I always tell people to go with what you're going to be most consistent with, because of course, if you're not taking it, it's definitely not going to work for you. So if you hate the idea of holding it under your tongue and you love the idea of the gummy, then go with the gummy. But everyone's different. So some customers find that the tincture is most effective for them. Some of them find the water soluble is. Of course, people come in with specific things, and then we can kind of guide them to different products based on our knowledge and based on what we've seen with other customers.
Okay, awesome.
Now, Abby, let me ask you this. Have you seen, or are there any like common things that you hear that possibly cause like negative effects when it comes to CBD?
So as long as you're taking a product that, it's not synthetic, it's from a reputable company, we haven't seen any negative side effects.
Mm-hmm.
It was ruled non-addictive by the World Health Organization. And we also participated a while back in a liver toxicity study with a couple other companies. And it also ultimately showed that there was no harmful effects to the liver.
Well, that's awesome. And nowadays, just kind of piggyback off what you just said, it seems like you could get CBD products anywhere, right? There's so many options of where you can attain them. So what is your process in your store to select the CBD products that you carry?
Yeah, so with your CBD store, we exclusively carry the SunMed brand. But all of our products are non-GMO and they come from organically grown hemp farms in Colorado, Oregon, and Montana. So, and everything's third-party tested. Specifically, we use Green Scientific Labs and KCA Labs, which are two very reputable testing companies. So that's definitely very important, is the third-party tests, because that's going to test for things like the solvents and pesticides, and that's going to show you specifically how much of each cannabinoid is in the product. Unfortunately, CBD is not yet regulated. We are pushing for it to get regulated, so that way, you know, some of the products that are on the market that say 10,000 milligrams CBD, and then you look on the back end, or you look at the lab report and there is no lab report, or things like that. We are just super careful, and I would say very selective of, we won't push a product out if it's not quality.
So are there any specific products that people gravitate more towards? Like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, I would say, honestly, it kind of varies sometimes. Like, if you would ask me 2 years ago, hands down, I would have said tinctures was our most popular product, the ones that go right under your tongue. Right. But recently, I would say it's been edibles. I think just because they're so convenient for people, it's just something easy to take, you know, on the go and things like that. Another one that has been popular, I would say, probably every customer that comes in, even if they're coming in for something else, they usually have some type of want to improve their sleep cycle. Yeah. So definitely our products that are for the nighttime, that have the CBN in there. CBN is another cannabinoid, and that one is, studies have kind of been showing it's good for nighttime and, like I said, to improve your quality of sleep. So we have like a CBN oil that has this lavender and valerian root in there as well. So it really helps to kind of guide you into that deep REM sleep, but still leave you waking up feeling refreshed in the morning. And then of course it's July and summertime, so our pet products have been very popular, with 4th of July, with the fireworks just passing, and then thunderstorms as well right now. So our chillin' out chews have been very popular.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this too, Abby. Sorry to cut your wisdom, boss. But so when it comes to edibles, so I'm, like I said, I'm a little bit more familiar with the THC side of things. So with the edibles, when you eat an edible that has THC, you know, that takes a little time to kick in, right? Is this similar with the CBD edibles, or is that something that you can experience the effects a little bit quicker or longer?
I would say probably about the same. Since it is still in that edible form, it still does take a little bit longer to get into your system and feel the effects versus something like a water soluble. And that's our fastest acting form of the CBD. So it still would take probably around that same amount of time. It's really different for everyone. Right. Sometimes I say like having a snack with it kind of helps it to kick in a little bit quicker from what I've seen, since it's fat soluble, but typically probably around that hour mark.
Okay. And when you say water soluble, you're talking about the tinctures?
So we have water solubles is actually a separate product to our tinctures. Okay. So the water soluble, it goes through a nano emulsion process to make the particles super small, and basically it makes it more bioavailable, and it has a quicker absorption rate. So those typically take about 5 to 7 minutes to take effect, versus a tincture, which typically will take about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay, so just so I'm clarifying. So the water-based, it's water-based CBD in the edible.
Oh, I'm sorry. The water soluble is a completely different product.
Okay, so what form is that in? That's what I'm trying to understand.
It's in a dropper that mixes in with the drink.
Okay, all right, fine, gotcha.
Now, I know you were saying a product that's, a lot of people come and ask for, to help with sleep. So, I'm familiar with, pain, sleep, anxiety, stress, things like that are common reasons why patients may seek CBD products. Do you have different products for different reasons, or is it similar, like all CBD can help with various things?
So kind of both. We do have products specific for nighttime and products specific for daytime.
Gotcha.
That are going to have other essential oils in there as well. So like the one for the morning promotes focus, alertness, more of an energizing effect. It has CBG in there. And then the CBN, like I mentioned, is for nighttime. But for example, like our water solubles, tinctures, edibles, and capsules, they come in a more general line in different strengths. Okay. So that way you kind of have a few different options to try out and see what works best for you.
Okay. Have you noticed any like significant trends or changes in the CBD industry when it pertains to, it could pertain to products or reasons why people are seeking it, or research or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say a big trend I've been noticing right now is with the synthetic cannabinoids. I kind of mentioned that for a second earlier, but with the synthetic cannabinoids, you guys may have heard of like THCO or Delta 10.
Yeah.
So we have quite a few people sometimes that come in and ask for those, but they don't really know that those don't naturally come out of the plant. They're more made in a lab. So those ones can have negative side effects depending on, what, because those were made with like different chemicals and things like that. So I have been seeing a trend in those of people coming out with those ones, because I've had a few customers, maybe not have the best experience with those. So that's why it's important to make sure you know what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, 100%.
Biggest investment you can make. So I always say that's super important. But yeah, it's interesting to see that I believe it's Delta 10 was actually discovered. I believe it was in California. They had a farm there, and there was a fire when the stuff they used to put the fire out. After they noticed on the plants that it had crystals on there. So they tested the crystals, and that's how they discovered Delta 10. So although Delta 10 does naturally come out of the plant, it's not in high enough. You need a ton of plants to create basically a significant amount of Delta 10 that would really give you any benefit.
That's interesting. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Yes, interesting story. But other than that, I would say also they're discovering a lot of new benefits with the minor cannabinoids. So right now, CBG and CBN have been really big. I'm really loving that right now because there's just so much that we don't even know yet. And also live resin. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that process. But basically with the live resin process, they flash freeze fresh cannabis plants and do it that way. So ultimately, they're going to come out with higher levels of cannabinoids and higher levels of terpenes as well. So we have a few wellness products that have the live resin, and we've been getting a lot of great feedback from customers that, they really notice a difference with those. So I think kind of tapping more into the live resin world is really cool too.
Wow. Man, seems like the future is bright for
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you talked about a little bit the different levels of the cannabinoids. So can you kind of explain what's like the lowest level and then what's like the highest level? And then maybe why somebody may want to take the lower level as opposed to the higher level and vice versa.
Yeah, so basically we have different strengths or different concentrations in our bottles. So for example, we have like a 500, which is our lowest, and then a 3000, which is our highest. However, it also, sometimes if they want their bottle to last longer, they may go with a higher strength and just do less of the dropper.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. We always recommend starting out low and slow, regardless of what strength you kind of go or which concentration you kind of go for. Just start at half a dropper. Do that for a few days, evaluate how you're feeling, and then you can move up or down from there.
Gotcha. Now,
is it something that you build tolerance to over time?
So if you do build a tolerance to it, what we recommend is just doing a tolerance reset. So you can either stop taking it for a few days, kind of let it get out of your system, and then restart it. If you find yourself, you kind of need higher and higher and higher over time, you can just do a tolerance reset and do it that way. Or, if you're taking a CBD dominant product, you can switch to a CBD dominant product and see if that works.
Okay.
Now let's talk about some misconceptions or myths. I know you touched on some a little bit here, but for us, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to our profession. So I'm sure there's some that come when it comes to the CBD industry as well. So if you kind of talk about some of those to kind of share with the viewers, I think they'd appreciate that.
Yeah, there is a lot of myths and misconceptions when it comes to CBD. We see that especially when we go to events and things like that.
Yeah.
Of course, when they're coming in the store, typically they probably have a little bit of knowledge. They kind of know what they're wanting, but at events we hear all sorts of things. One big one is that CBD gets you high. So that's a big one that we hear a lot. So it doesn't. We have products broad spectrum completely without the THC, or we have full spectrum, which has below the legal limit of 0.3% THC. But it's still not going to, create any sort of intoxicating effect with those ones. So that's a big one that we hear, as well as like all CBD is the same, which I know I've already touched on that a few times, but you want to make sure you do your research, it's third-party tested, all of that good stuff, so you know what you're putting into your body. Those are probably the two big ones. And then another thing is that I think a lot of people don't know is that with CBD, you have to be consistent with it to really see probably the results that you're looking for. So it does take some time to build up into the system. It's not, you do it once and then you're cured.
Right.
Yeah, everybody wants that fast acting
quick fix.
Exactly, the quick fix. So for people that are unsure of how to start or don't know which product to begin with or experiment with, do you have any recommendations on just people trying to get their feet wet with CBD?
Yeah, I always recommend people, again, to do your research. Of course, there's a lot of different things you can read online. Project CBD is a good one to look on. Make sure it's third-party tested. Go to, someone who's trustworthy, a reputable brand, whether, it be our store, whether it be another company. Just always do your research. And also, you can look at the lab reports, and then I just recommend going low and slow when you start out. Kind of see what's going to work best for you, because again, everyone's different. So just because one thing worked amazing for your friend, that doesn't mean the exact same product is going to work the same for you.
Right. So are there any new any new products in the works that we should be on the lookout for in the CBD industry?
I would say definitely, I know I touched on it, but the live resin ones are really cool. I know they're in the talks of coming out with like an intimates line, as well as these products won't have the CBD in there, kind of taking a different direction, but like the mushroom extracts.
Okay. Now, is that your store specifically?
My store specifically, yes. And I think it's also going to be something that is going to be, it's already on the market, but something that's going to kind of blow up and be emerging on there soon.
Okay.
Other than that, I would say just in general, again, with the minor cannabinoids, I think you're going to really start seeing those really take over.
Abby, let me back you up. You said intimate?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that.
So let's talk about that, because that sounds like I give it to my lady and we can,
You're good to go.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of information on product specifics, but we do have a lot of customers that come in looking to help with libido and things like that.
Gotcha.
As well as, some other things.
Right.
So this line is kind of going to cater more to that audience and be able to help with those things that maybe you might need or want.
Cool. Oh, that's good to know.
Now, how do you envision the future of the CBD in industry? Because, just off of that, there's so many, things that can be affected in so many avenues that, CBD could go into. Is there pretty much endless possibilities in your mind?
Yeah, I think with CBD, I believe that we just scratched the surface with it. Brightfield actually did a study, and it showed that 70% of people still don't even know what CBD is.
Wow.
And of that remaining 30%, still not all of them have used CBD. So I really believe that we just scratched the surface with it. Their CBD has already done so much. And I think, again, with those minor cannabinoids, just discovering the benefits of those, it's really going to take over, and I think it really has a huge future in front of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I believe it, because you just enlightened me on a few things that I had no idea about when it came to CBD. So I do think the future is probably going to be big for the CBD industry.
Yeah, I think so too. Even some of the products we've come out with so far, I was like we have the weight loss products, which is something that people wouldn't really think. They probably think the opposite of weight loss when they think about CBD. Yeah. So that product already has been really cool.
And even as providers as well, I think it's an awesome tool that we can utilize to help further advance patient, success and results as well. Once patients start to understand the benefits and how it can be used, and providers too could also utilize that in their toolkit as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a lot of doctors that refer us now, so it's great that you guys are taking the time to, educate even more about CBD and how it works, so that way you kind of know what to recommend or what to tell customers when they come when they get CBD.
For sure. Well, Abby, we appreciate you coming on and enlightening us on the CBD industry, dropping the knowledge and gems that you did. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and get a little bit more information on certain products, your store specifically, how can they do so?
Yeah, so we're local here in Clermont, so we're located right on County Road 455, right kind of across the street from the Rooms to Go. So we're right here, or you can give us a call at 407-654-9877. All of our socials are Your CBD Store Clermont. Or you can send an email at shopfl128@getsunmed.com.
Awesome. And for those that did not write that down, I will make sure that we have that all that information in the description below. So again, Abby, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and giving us some great insight. We appreciate you, Abby.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate you.